friends, welcome to my channel. I am Becca at Radiant Beans. I am a fiber artist and a crochet instructor in the Pacific Northwest. Today I am going to be finishing my City Stroll Lite sweater. I am so excited. I finished all the crocheting portion of it last night and now I get to seam it together. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like so far. It has a nice double collar, and so I'm going to be folding it in half and then seaming it together to make a nice thick collar. And then I also have to seam up the arms and the sides of the sweater. So we're gonna do that today. If you wanna sit and get cozy with me, that would be great. But first, I must make coffee. I've been trying to create designs in my coffee. I've not been able to do that yet, and that's fine. One day I will. Tastes great though. Okay, let's get started. I'm really excited about this sweater. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the process that I went through, like making this sweater, and all of the things while I'm just getting my supplies together. So I started this sweater. I bought the pattern in August. I went to Flock, and that was going to be my project that I worked on while like hanging out in the house after being at Flock, or while just like chilling and hanging out around Flock. Yeah, that didn't happen. Flock ended up being this like really wild, like whirlwind experience. It was amazing, but I ended up way busier than I expected. I taught a class at Flock, and I also got to speak on a crochet panel. It was just like this really amazing, wonderful thing. I also helped my friends set up their booth. I helped them with the Makers of Color booth and the Little Wing Fibers booth. So anyways, I ended up like really busy. So I never did do that. And then when I finally started my pattern, I had a whole different color scheme picked out. I was originally going to be using yarn from the Wandering Flock, and it was kind of fitting for like going to like Flock the Fiber Festival, and then I was using the Wandering Flock's yarn. But once I started working up the swatch, I just didn't, the colors were not working for what this sweater will eventually look like and what my vision for the sweater was. It just wasn't working with that yarn. So I ended up buying this yarn at Flock. This yarn is by the Royal Bee Company, and they were so kind. When I walked into their booth, I almost immediately was drawn to this color and was like, yeah, no, I need that. Like, this is coming home with me. And I also bought this really pretty, I should have grabbed it. I almost bought this really, or I did buy this really pretty chocolate brown too. Cannot wait to use it. The yarn is like so incredibly soft and swishy, and it's also made with recycled nylon, I believe. I'm gonna have to check that because I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, when I was at Flock and I bought that yarn, once I got home and I kind of put this off to the side for a while because I was like, oh, it's not, the colors aren't working, I don't know what to do. And then finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use this new yarn that I bought because like, why the heck not? I'm realizing that I did not fasten off last night when I finished the collar, so I need to do that. But yeah, I got really excited when I saw, or once I found, like finally started working with this yarn and working up the swatch for it. I was like, yeah, this is the jam. This is what I want. This is what I wanted it to look like. And I instantly was really happy with it, and I cannot wait to wear this sweater all the dang time because it's luxurious feeling. It feels so good. Yeah, so this is how it looks so far. I need to seam up the arms and the sides of the sweater. I didn't do the sides when the pattern told me to because I was a little scared I was gonna run out of yarn. So this is how much yarn I have left for my project, but when I got to the point of doing the collar, I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't wanna take risks because this is a project that I've now been working on for months on and off. And I was like, I can use any color, any dark yarn to seam it together, but I cannot do the same for the collar. So anyways, I ended up figuring it out and it was all fine. I was just a little stressed for absolutely no reason because that's what I do sometimes. But yeah, we're gonna seam this together, and I think it's the mattress stitch to seam them together. I'm gonna have to verify that before I actually start seaming it. But this came along nicely. This was it was a fun project. I enjoyed making it a lot, but it was slower than what I wanted it to be. I was like, because I'm a fast crocheter, I figured like, oh, I could bust out a sweater in like a month. Sure. That didn't happen. It had a new stitch that I had never done before. It has double slip stitches, or I think they're also called yarn over slip stitches, but I had never heard of that and never done it before. So it was kind of fun for me to be able to learn something new that's, new to me. But with that being said, I am so slow when it comes to slip stitches. So yeah, me flying this off my hook was not realistic in any kind of capacity. And with slip stitches too, like if you are a crocheter, you know this, but you have to be really careful with your tension. And if you're not, things will end up being too tight or maybe too small compared to what you wanted it to be originally. So that happened multiple times on my first panel of this sweater. So I had to redo it a few times until I finally just was like, girl, you need to relax. Like, your tension cannot be the same as it normally is. You have to loosen it up, because I am also I lean towards more tighter tension when I'm crocheting. Once I got the tension figured out and I started actually making this with the correct tension and everything, I could move a lot faster. But also, with that being said, I didn't think I was going to talk this much about the sweater before I actually started. Thank you for listening. With that being said, the tension was an issue from the get-go for me. So I did the first panel and then I ended up blocking it because I was worried that, again, it might be too small. And when I put it up against my body, I was like, it is a little shorter than what I wanted. So when I made the back panel, I decided to make it longer on purpose. So I did add stitches to the back. So yeah, you guys are gonna be able to work with me in real time, figuring out how the heck I am going to make those panels even. I'm going to just seam them together first without doing too many adjustments, just to see what it actually looks like. And then I might have to just add to the bottom ribbing, perhaps, maybe. It's not that much of a difference. So this is the well, that kind of stretches it out a little bit more. I think it's like 1/2 inch longer in the back versus the front, or maybe it's vice versa. I think I was gonna make the front, I think I switched it so that the back panel would technically be on the front because my front has more bumps. So I think that that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I'm gonna start seaming the sleeves together first. I'm gonna seam from the top, or cuff here at the sleeve and then go down to the armpit. And then I'm gonna work my way through the bottom half. And so this, I guess, is a good way to compare. And honestly, because it's so close to being even, I might just, cannot get that off. I might just finagle the stitches just enough to just make it work, because I kind of just want to be done. Because the discrepancy is not that bad, not that big. So you can see that there's just a little bit left over. It's all even, but it's like that. So I might just piece it together and pretend that they're completely even and just call it. We'll see what happens. Okay. So I just kind of like reevaluated, and I'm gonna just start at the bottom hem of the sweater and work upwards towards the sleeve. I think that it might be easier for me to make those panels even without it being too much work. So that's what I'm going to do. And it is a mattress stitch, so that is what I am seaming with. I personally feel like I am the slowest sewer. So we're gonna be here for a while. I'll just be like speeding up things, and then every now and then I'll probably just chat along as things come to my mind that I may want to share. But yeah, I feel like this is gonna take me a little while, but at the same time, like, I am pumped. I am pumped to be done with this. Being able to make my own clothing is definitely one of my favorite things about crocheting. I have made garments over the last years. So I've been crocheting for 18 years. It's been a long time. And when I say that out loud, it's just, it feels kind of fake because how have I been doing something for so long? I feel like I'm 18 years old. There's no way I have 18 years experience with something, right? But yeah, being able to make clothing is one of those things that how do I describe the way it makes me feel? It feels really special. Being able to go out and pick the yarn that speaks to you, that makes you feel excited, and then finding a pattern that you're really excited about too. It feels really good. And then of course, when you finally put the thing on and it fits, like, and it actually fits, it's really exciting. So last year, if you had watched my previous video about all the things that I made last year I leaned really hard into crocheting myself some clothes. It's just something that's been a goal of mine for a really long time. I want to be able to make my own clothes more. And so last year I had the opportunity to teach 2 different garment classes. And so that was a really big push for me to actually just make the things, because I needed samples for my classes so that I can advertise and also have knowledge of the pattern that we are working with. And so that was really cool to do. And it also made me realize that, like, not all garments are hard to make. There are so many out there that are really straightforward. And I just feel like if you are a crocheter or a knitter and you have been wanting to make clothes for yourself, try it. Go do it. Because it doesn't have to be a complicated thing. There are so many knit and crochet patterns where you basically, like this sweater, you make a square or rectangle for the front, and you make a square or rectangle for the back, and then you just do the collar and the sleeves. And that's it. Like, there's not always a whole bunch of shaping. It's not always complicated. There are definitely patterns that are more complicated and involve short rows and things like that. But even still, it's not that hard. I think one of the hardest things about making garments, at least for me personally, is making sure that you are making the right size for your body. I am struggling with all this yarn. This is too, my tail's too long. But yeah, I feel like you can find just so many different patterns out there, and the hardest part for me is kind of figuring out what kind of yarn that I want, what kind of drape do I want the yarn to be, because that makes a difference too. Like, sure, you can pick up a fingering weight yarn and be like, well, it's fingering weight yarn, this is what I need for my sweater. And like, yeah, the size of the yarn is right, and that's correct, that's what you need. But when you actually work up like an actual gauge swatch, or even just like messing around with stitches, you can really get a good feel for what the drape and feel of your garment will be when you're done. So like in the past, I didn't have the knowledge that I do now with the different types of yarn and material out there. So I would just pick up any yarn and be like, well, I think that this will work. Like, this should be fine. Like, I remember one time I was going to make a tank top, and I started it with the wrong kind of yarn, but I didn't know. I was newer and wanted to try out this tank top pattern. And as I was crocheting it, I was like, this is thick and bulky. Like, this is not what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to be like light and flowy, but in my, like, I don't know, my newness, I just didn't know. I didn't know that changing the yarn would make a difference. So if you are newer to making garments and you feel like, oh, I want to make this, definitely do a gauge swatch. Gauge swatches are great because they allow you to figure out, like, if you're using the right hook or if you're using the right yarn. Will my sweater be too small if I use this yarn and hook combination together, or will it be like way too big? It's really good to do it as a reference. And like, I'm a little bit lazy, I'll be honest. I don't usually do like full gauge swatches unless I feel nervous about the pattern. But I typically just work a few rows and then kind of hold the fabric and see how it feels. Because crocheting is one of those crafts that it can be bulky and it can feel really like structured and sturdy, depending on what kind of yarn and hook you use. And if you feel like you're working up your pattern and it's not as flowy as you want, or it's maybe not as tight and like thick feeling as you want, try to change up your hook or your yarn, and it actually might make a difference in your project. So mess around with it and don't be scared about switching things up. Like I told you, I started this one with a whole different vibe. I was going to use 4 different colors. It was going to be a very colorful, bright sweater. And as I started working up that gauge swatch, I was looking at it. I'm like, actually, this isn't the vibe that I want for this particular sweater. I'm gonna save that yarn for something different in the future. So I did. It's always okay to switch up what you're making. It's okay to go back and be like, actually, this yarn is not ideal for my project. So yeah, mess around, play around with it, and don't be scared to try new things. You can be scared, but I also encourage you to try because it's really fun to learn new skills. I am not doing a good job with this. I feel like I'm struggling with sewing and my hair is just like it's just in it. But yeah, try new things. Don't be scared. It's important to try new skills. And then once you do it, being able to wear clothes that you actually like made yourself and you picked out the colors, like you got to do all of the customization part, that's the best part for me. Like choosing the colors and really deciding how I want things to look. That's my favorite part. I love it so much. And of course, making it is nice too. Yeah, I'm just gonna work on this for a few minutes and then I'll probably chat again because I'm a talker. I don't know if you've caught on to that yet, but I could talk for a really long time, especially when it comes to yarn and crocheting and knitting, because it's my favorite thing to do. So I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. this is just a little side note. We got a espresso maker for Christmas, and it's been life-changing. I know that that might sound silly to some people, but like my husband and I love going to coffee shops. Like we just love the way that it tastes, the whole vibe and like everything. And we spend a lot of money on coffee. And since we have bought an espresso maker, we have not bought coffee. I have not been to a coffee shop since before Christmas. And it's great for us because we are saving money. But it's just one of those things where it's just like so cool to be like, oh, I made this coffee at home and it tastes like it came from a coffee shop. And that's just like, so good. I've bought 1 cup of coffee since we got this, and it was because I went to a restaurant for breakfast and I wanted coffee. And I was like, oh wow, this is the first time in like 3 weeks that I bought a coffee. Anyways, I had to share because having an espresso maker at home it's really nice and it's really cool. Thanks for listening to my rant. Hi, so it's the next morning. I worked on my sweater a lot yesterday, but I just had to stop filming. So I finished seaming the arms and the sides, and I sewed in all of the tails that were all over the sweater. So it feels really good. I literally just finished sewing this sleeve together, but oh my gosh, just like seeing it so close to being done makes me really excited. The last step is to do the collar. So I am going to do that and then I will try this on. I'm excited. I haven't tried it on for a while. I cannot remember if I mentioned this yesterday, but I finished the collar the night before, 2 days ago, and I just tried it on just to make sure that I liked the height of the collar when I put it on, but I did not look at it. I have not looked in the mirror with it on for a long time. So when I am done, I will film my my final reveal, and that's gonna be the first time that I see it on myself as well. So I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the collar and then I'll come back and maybe I'll be wearing it. I think I'll be wearing it when I come back. Okay, it's ready. I haven't even looked at it. I just put it on. I even shut my eyes. I don't want to see it. Are you ready? I made a sweater. I love this. I love this. I'm so short. I'm trying to like stand up so we can see it in all of its glory. It's big, it's oversized, just like I wanted. Yeah. I'm gonna be wearing this all the time. It fits me perfectly. I am so excited. The collar. Okay, so this is kind of silly, but the collar is a huge part of why I love this sweater. I don't know what it was about it, but I just really love the double like folded collar. I just think it looks really nice. It looks good. It looks complete. Yeah. Okay, this is cool. I will block this too and just kind of like, you know, stretch it out a little bit and help with the drape. But like, I can't believe how perfect it fits me. And it just feels so warm and cozy. You can't even tell that the panels were slightly uneven. So yeah, I'm so happy with this. Oh my gosh. Cool. I'm excited. Yeah. The joy of making your own clothes it's real. I know that this is going to be something that I wear a lot. I just know it. It feels so soft. I wish you guys could just like reach in and squish it with me because it's nice. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. If you would like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram at Radiant Beans and Threads. I sometimes post on there, but like not always. And I will link everything that I mentioned down below if you are interested in checking those things out. Thank you. Have a great day.